Hi everybody, and welcome back to Every Stitch Counts. My name is Charlotte, and here on YouTube I go by Every Stitch Counts. I primarily make content about knitting, what I've been making, what I'd like to be making, and what I think about the things that I've made. And typically I film podcast style videos, but over the past maybe almost 5 to 6 months now, I haven't been posting hardly anything, which was not my plan as of last year. And I also haven't been posting like any content anywhere, which also wasn't my plan as of last year. I haven't been knitting hardly at all in the last 4 to 5 months, and just wanted to honestly get on here and talk to other people who are interested about that. I really hesitated to make this video because it just felt a bit melodramatic to film an update of like why I haven't been doing this hobby that I'm privileged to have leisurely time to do. Then I thought about it and I thought, life is crazy. There's all kinds of things that people do to cope with the stress and just the ups and downs of life, and I think art and crafts and creating things is a big way that people do that. And so not getting to do those things, or not having the time or the ability to do as much of those things as you would like for whatever reason, can be just really hard and lonely, because as many of us know, I think crafting and creating and even art, it's very rarely something that you do with a ton of people all the time, unless you work in that field and you're like in an office just creating art all day, which is not common. So I just wanted to get on here, explain like why I haven't been knitting, kind of what's going on, just give people like free reign to share, maybe some of the things they're dealing with in the comments. I think that one of my favorite things about YouTube specifically and like this platform is how much people support each other. Obviously there's a dark side of the internet, but in my experience, like I've only had thankfully positive experiences, and I've really connected with some wonderful people on here. And I think that whether it is like an injury or just a lack of time or financial resources where you're not getting to do as much as you would like, that can be really hard and it can feel really lonely, and you're not alone. There's other people who are also dealing with the same thing and having to reassess and recalibrate themselves a little bit. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit more of my story, things that are maybe a bit more personal than what I typically share on here, then grab a cozy drink, grab your breakfast. We made breakfast together today. It was so sweet. Get cozy. I actually am going to try to do some knitting, ironically, in this video today. I'm feeling pretty good today, so you'll hopefully get to see a sneak peek of kind of what I'm working on. Spoiler, there was no sneak peek. Slowly. So without going into too much detail, basically, I have an elbow injury that is keeping me from not just knitting, but doing a lot of things. This all started way back when Charlotte was like this big. Well, not this big, but I was maybe 14 or 15. I can't remember if I've mentioned it, but I used to horseback ride like avidly. I rode all the time, all through my whole childhood into high school, and then a fair amount in my adulthood, but primarily in my childhood and high school years. When I was about 14 or 15, I got thrown from a pony, not even a real horse, from a pony that I was riding, and I broke the top of my arm. Like I broke my humerus. It was I don't even know what type of fracture it was. It essentially just like created a chip in the top of my humerus, and I had to wear a half cast for like 6 weeks and do some PT. Full recovery. Like I don't recall there being any weirdness with that injury after the fact, and I proceeded to be as active as I was in high school and beyond, and well into my young adulthood. Fast forward maybe 5 to 6 years, and I had met my now best friend, who at the time was very into rock climbing. Like she was so into rock climbing, and because I wanted to hang out with her and be cool, I also got really into rock climbing, which was a lot of fun. It was a nice change of pace for me. I'd never done anything like that. I was going like all the time. Upside of that, I got into crazy good shape and it was awesome. But the downside was I injured this arm again. I was bouldering, which for those of you that don't know, is essentially rock climbing no higher than 15 to 20 feet without a rope. I have no interest to ever do it again. Years later, after having rock climbed on and off for the past like 8 years. But at the time, I was really gung-ho, I was really competitive, and I really didn't like not doing something well. So I probably overexerted myself in front of these two guys. I'll be completely honest. Baby Charlotte was insecure. And I tried to go for the top of this wall and I slipped and I fell and I majorly hyperextended this elbow. I landed right on it. I'm sorry if you're squeamish, but I am shocked I didn't like rip or break anything at the time, but hugely hyperextended it. Thankfully, everything went back into place right away, but it was really swollen. I'm pretty sure I had a sling and got an x-ray done, and they said everything looked fine, but just to like take it easy for a while. So I did, and life went on. I didn't really think about it again until recently. Fast forward again, I had noticed over the years whenever I would like work out or do random things, sometimes it would pop a little bit, and I thought, that's weird, but my knee pops also from an injury, and my doctor has told me that that's not really that big of a deal unless there's pain, and there was no pain, so I just went on with my life. Fast forward again to, gosh, maybe a year and a half ago, I started really seriously trying to get into weightlifting and like functional exercise and really loved it. I'm like, why haven't I been doing this my whole life? Probably about 6 months ago, 6 to 7 months, I was noticing that I was noticing this arm more than my right arm. And like it was popping a lot. Wasn't causing pain, but it was just an eerie sensation in my forearm, in my last 3 fingers. Like it was so slight that people probably would have thought I was crazy for like noticing it. I was like, this feels odd. I started thinking about all the other people online who I talk to and who I see knitting all the time. And it's like the type of pain or aches that I was feeling is not what they describe. That started to give me pause. I was working out quite a bit. I was weightlifting maybe 4 to 5 times a week. I was really trying to get into shape like 6 months ago. It got really bad. It was popping like all the time. It was now causing like hot, burning, itchy type nervy pain in my forearm. It was extending into my last 3 fingers. And then I finally decided to go to PT when that sensation started coming up my arm into my shoulder and affecting my neck. Like this whole side of my body, I just felt like wasn't moving right anymore. It was painful now. There was a flight that I was taking from Colorado home, and I remember sitting on the plane and like my whole arm felt like it was on fire. I was just like, this is so weird. Like, what is going on? And knitting, along with weightlifting, obviously, seemed to really aggravate it. I just kind of stopped intuitively. I was like, feels like this is causing pain, so I'm gonna take a step back and not do it as much. I started going to PT. Basically, they were like, don't do things that irritate it. This is neurological pain that you're feeling. The worst thing you can do is do things repetitively that cause more pain or cause more inflammation in that like localized area, which meant pretty much no weightlifting, pretty much no knitting, because those things irritate it. And so I just went full stop on all of those things. I still work out and go to the gym, and I just do really lightweight just to try to get my body moving, and I do more like PT type stabilizing exercises, but I haven't been knitting at all, hardly at all. And the last time, a couple months ago, I was like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good, and I was actually working on this project. I sat down and knit for like an hour and a half one night, and then the next day I was like, oh, that like really hurts. It was all inflamed, it was stinging, it was hot and itchy, like it just did not feel good. It was like really bumming me out big time. It currently is bumming me out big time. So went to PT, doing PT. Spoiler alert, PT did nothing. They were like, you need more imaging done. So I will be getting more imaging done on my elbow to see like what's going on with that, if they can even see anything, right, with a sports medicine doctor. And hopefully it's nothing, well, hopefully it can be fixed. I hope that whatever is causing that like snapping sensation with that nerve that's there is fixable. I am worried about the, obviously, like whatever procedure might fix it. I've had a lot of sports injuries over the years. Surgery is by far the thing that it fixes the short-term problem, but anytime you have major injuries like that, or you revert to surgery to fix an injury, in my experience, like that is lifelong maintenance that you have to do for that injury. And it'll never be exactly the same. And there will always be just a noticeable thing there. And so just trying to mentally prepare for that. Yeah, that's why I haven't been knitting at all. I'm turning over a new leaf. As of 2025, I have really just been trying to frame a more positive outlook around the whole thing. And that is really why I wanted to share this with everybody, because whether it's an injury or it's a change in life's circumstances, interpersonal circumstances, financial circumstances, there are a whole lot of reasons why someone might not be able to do the things that they want to do in their life. And it is a privilege to even be able to sit here and say this, because there are hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of people who don't have the luxury of being able to have leisurely time to devote to like hobbies. I'm very privileged to even have this as a problem, but it's hard, you know? Life can be hard, it can be lonely sometimes, and I think I've connected with some people my age who are in a similar life stage of like their late 20s, they're single, but even older people who I've connected with on here who, you know, maybe they just, you know, it's lonely. You know, if you get older, friends change or people pass. If you're younger, like people get married and have kids, and like it can feel a lot of the time like your life is just in a vacuum and it's being slowly like becoming more and more isolated a little bit from the people that you're actually very close with. And so it can feel like really difficult growing pains to have to recenter yourself around new people and new things that are you and your life and not all these other people's lives. And my hobbies, my knitting, my crafts, the things that I make, my art, like those are all things that help me do that. They help me connect with the part of me that's fun and playful and enjoys creating things, and I just get a lot of joy from that. And so I think there's probably a lot of people who potentially will watch this and will think, man, like I'm in not that exact situation, but in a similar situation. And so what are we gonna do about it? What am I gonna do about it? I'll show you what I'm gonna do about it. To start playing with polymer clay. Like, it sounds so silly, but it doesn't hurt my hands as much, I think, because I'm not using my fingers as much, which my fingers are connected to the nerve that is so inflamed and irritated and getting caught on something. And so the clay has been like a really fun new thing to explore and have an outlet for some of that creative energy. And I will find a way to make it related to knitting. I think I already have some ideas floating around in my head, but anytime there's a change or a shift, or you have to refocus or stop doing one thing and maybe start doing another thing, there's so much opportunity in that to meet new people, learn new things, or be exposed to a new kind of art and a new perspective on creating and a new sense of value for maybe something different than what you were used to before. I think that it's been a really good thing, and I would encourage anybody who's watching, like if you're in a similar situation and you're feeling a little bit like things are out of your control, try to embrace it. As cheesy as that sounds, hobbies in your art, that can be a really easy way to do that. Low impact, if you will. And yeah, I still plan on posting, and oddly enough, not actually physically knitting so much has given me a lot more time to do some of these other things and to enjoy other things that I really like. I've been decorating my apartment, I've been slowly adding things, I've been messing around with the clay and making cute little figurines for people, just getting to re-explore things that were in my life that maybe I just wasn't giving any time to. Has been good, even though maybe it's kind of sad at times. So I don't know if this was interesting or helpful to anybody, but I guess I just wanted to encourage myself by hopefully encouraging some other people that like life changes. It goes like up and down all the time. It's okay to change and shift and try to further expand the person that you are. I have a hard time doing that. I don't want to disappoint anybody. And so I have a hard time doing that. I think my hobbies or things that I feel like just pertain to me, like they don't affect anyone else, I feel real freedom to get to do that and change and shift however and whenever I want, and I have no expectations on the things that I make, and that has been like such a freeing thing for me. So even though this has been hard and whatnot, I just want to let you know that like you're not alone if you're also dealing with something like this, and it can feel like it's not that big of a deal and like you shouldn't be that upset by it, but it's okay if you are. It's okay if it really bums you out that you love to draw and your work has just been so busy and you just haven't had time to do that. It's okay to be bummed out by that. You can always go back to that. And maybe there's something else through like the next door for you that you're meant to see or you're meant to experience. I didn't get any knitting done. I kind of just started ranting and here we are. I didn't even eat. I've had to reheat this coffee like 6 times. Honestly, this was so hard to film like the little other clips, and like then also I ended up just like sitting here and like talking straight to the camera. So lots to learn there too with like how to be a good YouTuber. I sincerely do hope that whether it is knitting, drawing, sculpting, like whatever type of art form you enjoy or just way that you enjoy spending your time, I hope you're getting to do those things. And if you're not alone. Your time will come again, and this is an opportunity for something new to be explored, either in yourself or other people or your world around you. So I hope you're all finding joy, getting to do the things and make the things that you want to make. And if not, it's okay. I'm happy that we all got to sit here and hang out for a bit, and I will be back real soon with the next one. I have some really fun ideas coming, and I'm excited to share them with you, and hopefully you will find them helpful as well. So I will catch you all in the next one. Bye. Oh, and don't forget to stay classy. Bye.